This morning we're at Woodland Street and the Factory Pond Dam. This is a project that was a long time in the process and it's coming to the end. So we're talking to the people who were involved in the construction of a new highway bridge and a new dam. Let's get started. What makes this project unique?
From my stance, I would say one of the unique things about this project is that we went from a really small bridge with a straight spillway to very large spillway structure with unique geometry and a very large precast culvert. So it's not unheard of. We deal with these types of things all the time, but it is a very unique and interesting setup, I would say.
Sure, I'll jump off of that. So one thing about the existing dam and bridge system that was here before was that it was significantly hydraulically undersized. So when we went to look at a new design and how to improve it and make it more resilient for the town, we really needed to address how do we increase the hydraulic capacity here while still working within that same footprint. You know, the dam's not any bigger, we need to increase the capacity with the area that we have. So that was a very big challenge that we had, and also just the hydraulics of it all with the bridge being directly downstream of the dam. So balancing all of that was the most unique aspect of this project, and that's ultimately what resulted in that labyrinth spillway shape that you see.
So you had to also think about flood levels and everything else going forward and when you build something like this.
Yes, absolutely, and there's regulations that govern what storm events and how many inches of rain these structures need to be able to accommodate. So we keep that in mind, and then obviously we try to design it to be as resilient and sustainable as we can with consideration of increasingly more severe storms.
What about special materials used in this? Did you do anything special for this project?
I would, from my stance, I would say there's nothing overly special about the materials, but being that it is a dam that is meant to hold back a lot of water and deal with some large storms, there is a lot of rebar, a lot of concrete, more so than some simple walls that you see in other structures. But other than that, I would say nothing overly unusual. I don't know if Parr can comment differently.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think standard materials and items and processes kind of followed to make sure that these things are put in a way that fits the purpose of the structure.
Okay. So any big challenges or unexpected situations come up?
I would say from a challenge standpoint, being that this is a dam, there's very little to no crushed stone or permeable materials used because the structure that we built is completely founded in the middle of the dam. So no water is supposed to channel through any other areas except the spillway and culvert structure that it's designed to flow through. So normally when you're dealing with extremely wet and deep conditions, you use a lot of stone and some other materials that are permeable that allow us to be able to pump water and de-water so that we can efficiently and productively do the work that needs to be done. But most of this structure, this whole area is founded on the natural clay above the bedrock. So without the use of crushed stone, it was a challenging environment to deal with, being how wet it was. But we made it through it. It all worked out just fine.
Sure, I'd agree. I think Nick hit it on the head with control of water. Water is always one of the biggest considerations for a dam project. And even just the start of the project getting set up, we had to find a way to divert water safely while we were working on the actual spillway and bridge part. So I think finding a setup that worked and provided the level of protection that it needed to from a safety and regulatory standpoint was a big factor in this project, and still confined by the limited work area that we have. There's only so much space on the dam. We needed to provide a temporary diversion system that had significant capacity while we were working.
Right. Can you go into that a little bit more, the temporary and how you did that, how you held the water back and
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, the diversion system that we utilized throughout the project involved a sheet pile weir that was at the left side of the dam that fed into two 4-foot HDPE conduits that ultimately went around the side of the dam and discharged downstream just ahead of the rail trail bridge that's downstream.
Okay. And then at some point, a few weeks ago, didn't you move those, or what happened then?
So a few weeks ago, we opened up the new spillway structure and
Yep.
culvert to the flow of water from Factory Pond Dam. So in doing so, we pulled the actual cofferdam, which was constructed with sheet piles,
Yep.
steel sheet
Yep.
piles.
Yeah, was that an exciting day?
I think it was an exciting day for everybody, us, the engineers, and the town in general.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, there were a ton of bystanders that were up on the bridge that saw it, got some awesome drone footage. It was a great day to see it have flow through it.
That's one of the good successes then, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say so.
Great. So why is the dam shaped the way it is with like various levels? I can't see it right now, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, so that goes into the hydraulic capacity considerations that I was talking about earlier. Essentially, balancing a couple of different targets. So on the one hand, there's a low flow notch in the center, and that's designed to be able to maintain the impoundment at the normal pool elevation that you see while also sending the required amount of base flow downstream. So that's that consideration. Then it steps up and there's a high stage weir on the sides, and that's just to provide the sufficient capacity for those larger storms. So really it was working within that limited footprint and trying to balance the different needs of maintaining normal pool elevations while also being able to accommodate these larger storms. The other elements and the elevations that they're set at were kind of dictated from a structural standpoint.
Okay. I think that one of the things that strikes anyone about this project is you're working with so many diverse environmental factors. You know, you've got a stream, you've got a pond, you've got wildlife. How did that really impact the design of the project and then impact your everyday work here?
Well, I'm sure Bethany can speak to the design end of things. As far as everyday work goes, you know, we're used to working in very environmentally sensitive environments, so nothing overly out of the ordinary. However, it does require us to be cognizant of the fact that we're near a pond, we're in a pond, we have wetlands downstream, so you know, erosion control measures are needed, which are included on the design plans, and we just got to be very cognizant and diligent about maintaining those erosion controls, make sure no sediment is migrating off of our site. And you know, as long as we keep everything contained on this site and follow the design plans, everything seems to go pretty smooth, and we protect the surrounding areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Always environmental considerations worked into the project itself, and a lot of those are also run through from a permitting standpoint. So looking at, you know, permitting through the Wetlands Protection Act as well. So that kind of gets baked into the design process and was part of what we came up with here today. And then the rest of it was, like Nick said, kind of managing the day-to-day, making sure that we're not releasing any excessive turbidity into the environment.
Did you see any interesting wildlife while you were here?
Oh yeah.
Like what?
Did.
Lots of beavers, lots of snakes. What else do you got, Nick?
Big beavers, turtles, a couple turtles, good-sized turtles, some crawfish, freshwater crawfish, and I think we even saw a few raccoons, a bobcat the other day on site.
There's
Wow.
an eagle the
Yeah.
other day, an eagle, a crane.
Yeah, sure.
So all sorts of wildlife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That must have been fun. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about no fish though, or?
Yeah, we see some fish migrating around the water. Just you know, as we're walking around, you can kind of see them when the sun hits the right way. But nothing too major.
Yeah. So, how long will this bridge and dam last?
So structures like these will typically last at least 50 years, but it wouldn't be surprising with what we've built here today for it to last well over 100.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure that's a
We're gonna
relief.
go through this again. Oh, I know. I have a question. Why did it take so long? What was that whole? This was a very long project before you even broke ground. Can you explain a little bit about that permitting process you just mentioned?
Sure, yeah. So I think timeline-wise, one of the big things to consider is that a lot of this kicked off during that emergency inspection in February 2023 that resulted in the bridge being closed. Up until that point, PAR had been working with the town on dam inspections and noting the poor condition of the dam that was here, looking at rehabilitation options for the dam itself. But once the bridge itself was closed, there really had to be a pivot that incorporated this combined roadway, bridge replacement, and dam rehabilitation project. So just the nature of that process itself then had to undergo an extensive permitting process at the local, state, and federal level. So there's a lot of different agencies that had a stake in what happens here, whether that be dam safety or Mass DOT. So just navigating that whole process, the design changes through the permitting itself is what took some time. But then I would also say that the project in the grand scheme of things has been at quite an accelerated pace, particularly with the aggressive construction schedule, which Rockio has adapted to and run with very well. And we're ahead of schedule at this point. So there was a very aggressive construction schedule that was really targeted at getting this roadway opened by the start of the school year.
And is that what's going to happen, we hope?
Yeah, as of now, things are looking good. We've thank you, Bethany. As Bethany said, we gave everything a real big push up here to get everything done on schedule, ahead of schedule, and it looks like things should finish up pretty strong.
That's excellent news for everyone in town. Wow. So in total, if you were to sum up this project, now that we're coming to the end, how do you feel about it?
Well, I can say it was a very interesting project from start to finish. I'm proud of the product that we put forth. I think it came out very well thus far, and I anticipate finishing strong. And I'll be honest, working with PAR and working with the town of Holliston and everybody around the area, it's been a pleasure, and I would look forward to doing so again in the future.
That's great.
Yeah, I'd echo that. I mean, the project team has been incredible to work with, both Rockio and the town of Holliston. And, you know, I'm just grateful to have been a part of it and to be able to see the progress that's been made. You know, this has obviously been a really critical project for the town and very public facing, with everybody walking on the pedestrian bridge all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great to see it through from the design stages, and now, you know, what we had here being two structures that were in very poor condition that posed a public safety issue. And now we're putting something in that's going to be more resilient, that's going to maintain this roadway open, and is just going to overall be a great asset for the community. So it's been great to see how it's evolved over time. It's been great to work with the project partners, and yeah, overall it's been a great experience.
We're glad to hear that. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and I think we're probably going to have like some kind of a ribbon cutting, and hopefully you guys will be there when we finally get to drive over this bridge that we've been waiting for so long. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you.
One of the best things about this project is the way everyone in town gets to look at this from the 8-arch bridge. Steve Hedrick has been a faithful observer the whole time. Steve, what was it like?
Well, Chryso, it started very slowly. Way back in March when they first started work, I'd walk down here. I live in the neighborhood, and I took a couple pictures, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty neat. And then as I kept coming back, I'm like, wait a minute, this is really intricate. It's really interesting to watch. And so I take some more pictures, and as I talk to people, I realized that because the road is blocked off, they don't get down here. So I started taking pictures once a week and posting them on Holliston Happy.
Yep.
And I've been getting like 250, 300 likes on my pictures.
Great.
And people with questions, and of which I can't answer. But so it's been fun, and I've really enjoyed watching, you know, the engineering that's been going on. And some of the workers, when they're not involved, we yell back and forth.
Okay.
You know, and I ask them questions. Why are you doing that? You know, and they'll tell me. You know.
Neat.
So they were very nice about it. It was just so fascinating to watch.
Tell about the fellow that was operating the big machine. And
Okay, so one of the operators of the tractors, he's like a surgeon with that
Wow.
with that piece of equipment. And so we were talking one day, yelling one day, and he said to me, I usually work on demolition projects. He says, but I'm really enjoying this because we're building something that's going to last a long time.
nice.
He was so, you could feel the emotion when he was telling me this, you know? So I really think these workers love what they're doing, this project, that it's something very creative, it's going to look nice, you know, and, you know, they're going to be able to come back and see it, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, I built that.
Yeah, yeah. What else struck you about the way things were being put together?
Well, just the engineering that's involved. And, you know, like I'd show up one day and they'd be doing something, digging over here, and I'm like, why are they digging over there? And then I'd come back a few days later and I go, that's why they were digging there. That was step one to the next step, you know?
Yep.
And so it's just been very interesting. And I so enjoyed listening to the young lady, Bethany, who is the engineer on this project. So bright, and you know, you young ladies, look at her, you can do those things.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So what are you going to do now that it's almost over? Oh no.
I don't know, I gotta find another hobby, I think. Gee, this has been so much fun. You know, all right, I gotta go down and see the bridge, see how they're doing, you know, and see
Yeah.
what it's gonna look like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm very pleased at what came out. You know, I think it's gonna be beautiful, you know, when they're finally done. And well, I shouldn't say finally, because this started in March, and here we are looking at September that we're gonna open this. They've done the whole project,
Yeah.
you know, since March.
Right,
you know?
right.
And I was looking at my pictures back in March when Woodland Street was still there, and the old bridge and the water pipe, and it was just so special, you know, to now look at this and see how far we've come.
So that's cool. So you started when it was the old, you know, there was nothing there, and then you saw the demolition, and then the buildup.
Right, yeah. So it's been fun. And there's been a lot of traffic on this bridge. People,
Yeah.
you know, we stop and talk about what's going on, and you know, it's
I
been
think
a lot
you know
of fun.
more about it than you think you do.
Well, but it's been fun, you know, and you know, I wave to the workers, and they recognize me. Oh, that guy's back, you know, and
Yeah.
so it's been really fun. And I can't wait for it to be done, you know, but I've really enjoyed watching it.
Well, we enjoyed your pictures.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, 250 of us. Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
James, we're back up on the 8-arch bridge here. Can you touch a little bit on exactly why and how long this project started from beginning to end? Bethany mentioned it before a little, but tell me a little more about that permitting situation.
Yeah, so it was a very lengthy process. It all started with the classifications of the dams in town, right? There are 3 dams in town. This dam here, the one behind Dunkin' Donuts called Houghton Pond Dam, and then one over by Lake Winthrop. And the state grades these dams. This dam and the one at Houghton Pond are considered high hazard dams. So we need to do some remediation to prevent them from possible failure. Not that there's an imminent risk, but that it needs to be addressed. So the plan all along was to rehabilitate the dam that we see over here. What happened is that when the state was coming out and doing their dam inspection, part of the you know, the dam spillway structure is the bridge. It's all an integral one-piece
That's a good
unit.
point. Yeah, exactly.
And they went and looked at the bridge, and they're like, wait a minute, this bridge is not safe.
Oh.
And they shut it down immediately. And then that created the town actually had to pivot from focusing on the dam to the actual bridge. And since the two are integral with one another, it really became a much larger project.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, from that point on, we had to get the Office of Dam Safety involved. We had to get the Army Corps of Engineers involved. We had to get MassDOT involved. and the DEP.
Yep.
All because all of those various entities were touched in this project. And every one of those departments had to approve the designs, approve the process by which the project would be undertaken. And so it was quite lengthy. It was over a year in terms of getting all the approvals from all those various entities before we could even start bidding and constructing this project.
Okay.
So that was, I mean, if you look at the construction, it started in March. We're scheduled to be finished by September 1st, if not sooner. That's a short window.
Yes.
But it was all the design work, all the approvals, the permitting that got us to this point that took so long.
Yeah. Did you kind of manage some of that permitting process? Or?
Yes, so myself, along with the former town administrator, through our engineering firm, Parcorp, who you met, Bethany,
Yep.
all managed that process to shepherd it through the various steps in the process.
Okay. How much did it cost and how was it funded?
So the total cost of this project was $3.6 million. Originally, the town was putting $1 million towards this project. We applied for a grant from the Office of Dam Safety, as well as the small, as well as a DOT grant. That was a lot of effort to apply for these grants to help offset the costs of this project. Wonderful news, we ended up getting $1 million from the Office of Dam Safety.
Wow.
And
Wow.
we were expecting a small amount from the small bridge program. We ended up getting $750,000 for that.
That's great.
So between those two grants and using what's called Chapter 90 money, so this is money that the state gives the town for road work projects, this whole project is being funded without taxpayer money. And that money that town meeting appropriated for this project will be returned back to the general fund. So it's very exciting that this massive project does not cost the taxpayers anything other than a headache from having to drive around it for the past 2 years.
Right. That's incredible news.
Yeah,
That's so great.
It's wonderful
Good
news.
work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this now that it's almost done?
It's absolutely wonderful, and it looks beautiful. It's not shown now, but there'll be a sidewalk on the far end that'll have some nice railings. Be a great spot where you can look. It's a very wide sidewalk. You can see it's 8 feet wide, so someone can stand there and look over the spillway.
Cool.
There's going to be metal grating along. It's not going to be access to the public, but metal grating on that side so that the DPW can clean out the debris that may collect on that end. There'll also be a catwalk over to a very large wheel that's going to act as a spillway. So if this dam and there's a significant rain event, we can open up a bypass pipe to allow more flow through the dam. But this has been a wonderful, wonderful project. Our engineers, PAR Corporation, have been absolutely wonderful. The contractor, John Rocchio, has been absolutely wonderful. This has really been a great team effort and quite, knock on wood, quite a seamless process.
Yeah.
What I'm really excited about is that when the traffic starts flowing, over this bridge, there's going to be a marked improvement in the congestion in downtown.
Oh, definitely.
Because a lot of the traffic now has to come down right through downtown, down through Central Street and back off through Medway and Millis and that area. This serves as a great bypass for that traffic.
Yeah. And it'll make getting to school easier and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's going to be life-changing for us Hollistonians.
It certainly is.
I'm excited.
It's exciting to have our own little big dig project here in beautiful Holliston.
That's so true, right. And there's an interesting little sidebar. The water we're looking at here, it actually comes, I'm told, from Lake Winthrop, way up there. It flows through various little backyards and streams downtown, comes out at the pond up here, and then eventually under that spillway, this little stream goes to Millis and to the Charles River to Boston.
Yes, that is true.
So we are connected.
Yeah, it is connected. It's interesting. You would think with Lake Winthrop that the water flows towards it, but it actually flows from Lake Winthrop this direction to here.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll wait for the grand opening.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting time.
Definitely.
Hopefully you'll be there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For Heartbeat of Holliston, I'm Chryso Lawless.